About 10 years ago, when I graduated from college, 48 hours later, I was in Ahmedabad to start work. And one day later, it happened to be coinciding with when our renewables platform was just starting up. So I was shipped off to a remote area in the middle of nowhere, where the first project that Adani Green was doing was the world's largest single location solar plant, which was 648 megawatts. In Tamil Nadu, in a place called Kamuthi. So I practically lived there for the first 1.5 years in a shipping container, learning how execution works on the ground. Because the most important DNA of the Adani Group, the thing that our family holds dearest to our heart, we pride ourselves upon it, and we have a very, very razor-sharp focus on it, is execution. And more focus on organization building, getting in the right talent, making sure that we de-risk ourselves to the extent possible from all different scenarios across our energy utility platform, ensuring the platform works as a whole, that synergies across businesses are built upon. We've done a lot of, as you know, we've done a lot of fundraising in the last 2-3 years across the group. So that's been a key focus from the family side as well. We're in a place today where we don't need capital for growth. So just getting to that place. So a lot of focus areas from the family side, but 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I think we have a big task on our shoulders and a big journey ahead of us. We think that India overall as a country is very beautifully placed in the global context that we are in today. We don't have more hunger than the first generation.
But I'll come to the first generation, but you have to honestly admit, if not more, equal hunger hai.
They work 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. Throughout the entire year, we don't. We work 14 hours, so it's a little worse compared to them. It's a very deep question that you ask me.
एकदम अच्छे से honestly आप बताओगे तो मजा आएगा.
See, I can tell you.
मतलब ये जो transition है ना, कुछ तो नया chemistry हुआ है, which other groups have not been able to transit.
You see, I'll tell you, and I've not thought about this, sorry, so I'm just telling you as it comes to me.
But I know that we did not give you the questionnaire.
No, but I think the best way to teach is to do and to lead by example, as you rightly said. In fact, in our family, we have 100% freedom and flexibility of choice. So no one is working because they've been told to work, or no one is doing what they do, or no one is spending 14 hours in the office a day today, and from the second generation, because they've been asked to do that. It's for every one of us, it's a choice that we make every single day. It's not something ke bola hai, compulsory hai to karna hai, waisa bilkul bhi nahi hai. So it's a choice we make, and we don't think of anything different because we've not seen anything different. For us, that's the normal, natural way of life. So
I am so enormously...
Ahmedabad में भी रहने का एक advantage है.
Yeah.
तो Bombay का थोड़ा distraction कम रहता है. What I've learned from dad, uncle, from our culture within the family. And if you ask me for a gut reaction, there are two things that come to mind. First, resilience in the face of no matter what adversity comes against you. And the second is razor sharp dedication and focus with an unbelievable ability to cut out the noise. So to have a really almost, there's no other way to put it than there's a blessing from God that they are this way. कोई explanation नहीं है, वो भगवान ने gift दिया है, वैसी वाली बात है. That no matter what happens around them, no matter what disruption happens, no matter what pressure there is, no matter what goes wrong, or problems that come up, or whatever happened for us 2 years ago, whatever happened a few months ago, short seller incident, the US indictment, DOJ, they don't even flinch. So they don't even bat an eye. It doesn't matter. Because in the environment and the spirit of whatever is going on around them, there is razor sharp focus that the only one thing that matters at the end of the day is how we deliver on our businesses. The second thing is resilience, that nothing can shake them. Kuch bhi. Over the last 20 years since, I've been a little more mature as a person, I grew up a little bit from being a kid, I've seen at least 10 or 12 major incidents that have happened from a business standpoint, from a family standpoint, all of that for within our family. But there is that unshakable tenacity that I've seen across and through this entire journey that we all, not just me, all four of us, we try to very actively learn and imbibe every single day. So you can imagine when the short seller incident happened 2 years ago, right? We were together with them, with my father, with uncle, for the entire 10 days after, for 16 hours a day, every single day. And we really got to see how this entire thing was so systematically, properly, structurally dealt with, without any stress or tension or कि ये क्या हो गया, वो क्या हो जाएगा, without any of that. So if you think about it from our perspective, there can probably be no better learning than this.
I was looking at the history, and correct me if I'm wrong, this level of execution, and that is one of the, I interact with a lot of investors. Maybe if you can say that is one of the small concern which investors have. कितना कुछ करेंगे यार, सब कुछ करेंगे. From airport to cement to, electricity, thermal power, green power, or abhi ab, EPC companies, etc., etc. So if you can, simplify it for the crowd, what is the strategic intent and why, maybe it is not too much, maybe it is just two verticals which you are trying to say, and there are too many companies. I think everyone, including me, would like to hear your views on this.
No, I'll tell you honestly, I think this is one of the things that are most misunderstood about us as a group. And I'll tell you why. Fundamentally, what we do are two things and two things only: energy and utilities and transport and logistics. These are the only two things that we do as a group. In fact, more than 90% of either our capex or our EBITDA or our bottom line comes from these two areas. Now, within energy utilities in India, there's a lot of other companies which are only in generation, only in transmission, only in distribution, only in smart meters. We are present across the entire value chain. The second thing, transport logistics, so everything we do, airports, ports, logistics.
Even cement roads, is like a
cement,
logistics play.
So I'll just come to that. Cement is a part of that 10%. So everything else that we do, which is a part of that 10%, has to have a very, very, very strong linkage to the first two areas. So cement, for example, 70% of the business is either cost of input energy or cost of end logistics to deliver the bag to the final consumer. These two things put together constitute somewhere between 60 to 70% of the overall business. Sure. For example, we're setting up we just operationalized a copper smelter. We're looking at an aluminum project. All those projects, they are very, very heavy in terms of, or our PVC project that we have, coal to PVC. They're all very, very heavy in terms of energy consumption. So if you're able to deliver electricity to those plants in a very cost-effective and competitive manner, that's a majority of the cost stack-up. And today there is no one in the country who can deliver electricity at scale and cost that we can. You are only as good as what you deliver on the ground. तो वो देखा, एक बार डिसीजन ले लिया कि ये करना है, उसके बाद वो पेपर का कोई मायने नहीं है. Every single day, every single hour, every single minute, the only thing that matters is how do you then translate, that's a thought कि मुझे ये करना है. How do you translate that thought into executable reality on the ground? And after spending an hour on that paper and understanding, Gautam Bhai himself personally spends more than 80% of his time every single day on execution and on de-bottlenecking execution. From two things and three aspects specifically. First aspect, do we have the organization set up to be able to deliver what it is that we are trying to execute on the ground? Do we have the right people? Do we have the right talent? Do we have the right experience? Do we have the right expertise? Number one. Second, our own internal systems and processes. You will be surprised, हमारे वहाँ पे, when it comes to execution, our site manager, our site in charge, or our execution managers, or in the case of ports, for example, our marketing managers who go and get business, they are more empowered. So we spend a lot of time on selecting who we want to give this responsibility. And as a family, we're very, very, very directly involved in that. After that is done, the level of empowerment we give to our managers is more than what there will be of very, very senior people equivalent to chairman of many companies. And third, we always try to make sure that we have a very robust, structural, systematic vendor program. So today there's about 60 to 63,000 vendors that work across group companies. Our win has to be together with their win. So they have to grow when we grow together. And that is something we are very, very, very conscious about from a family standpoint, and how we look at it. And all of our CEOs, all of our participants, they've worked with us more than 15, 20 years now. So they've also learned this, they've also seen this, and they've also imbibed this philosophy from Gautam Bhai, from Rajesh Bhai, from everyone in the group. So they also work in that way now. And so that focus remains so I think trying to decomplicate our execution strength, there are these three main key themes that we focus on. So we've had successes, we've had failures as well. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि हम इतने बढ़िया है कि हमने आज तक कोई गलती नहीं की है हायरिंग के अंदर, ऐसा नहीं है. We've had a lot of failures. We've had a lot of people at senior leadership levels that have not been able to keep up with regards to the pace of growth, with regards to the... And that's natural, right? That's only natural that would happen. What we do try to do though, and what we do end up doing though, is always... गौतम भाई का काफ़ी एक हम सबके लिए एक काफ़ी स्ट्रॉन्ग उनका खुद का सोचने का तरीका एंड एडवाइस टू अस ऑल्सो रहता है हमेशा, दैट इट इज़ मच बेटर टू हैव एन एवरेज ड्रिवन super smart person. Sorry, it's much better to have a very driven
average person
than have an average driven super smart person. Because हमको theory नहीं चाहिए, हमको काम करना है ground के ऊपर. So the thing we always look out for is hunger in people. If you looked at Adani Group somewhere in 2017, 2018, you could never, by any far stretch of imagination, could have imagined that the Adani Group will be what it is today in 2025. Because in 2025, as an Adani Group, we've never been stronger. But if you see last year, we, for the first time, delivered a $10 billion EBITDA from a group perspective.
Yeah.
Within that macro opportunity, from a group standpoint, we have never been stronger and we have never been better. So, give you an example. Over the next 8 to 10 years, in the most conservative scenario of every single project that we are locked in today, no, हम आगे और क्या करेंगे? Obviously, we are not going to. बहुत चीजें और तो होगी आगे. But forgetting, हम कुछ आगे नहीं करते. What we are today, we stay at a standstill. We will make a free cash flow after debt servicing of $100 billion as a portfolio.
No one has been able to get this number till now.
So I will add one more number. That 1-for-1 is the public commitment of what we have said we will invest in the market over the next similar horizon period. So the interesting data point here is that our $100 billion investment public commitment is we need zero outside equity, we need zero outside debt. This can be funded 100% with just internal cash flow generation of the group companies over the next couple of years. Now, obviously, we are not going to do that. It is stupid for an infrastructure company to fund a project with 100% equity. It's the stupidest thing you could do. So obviously, our theoretical investment, if we fund our projects in the way we've been doing over the last 5 years, we can theoretically invest $300 billion. We can borrow $2 of equity against $2 of debt against $1 of equity. We can theoretically invest $300 billion and maintain our 2.5x leverage threshold. If we invest $300 billion over the
next 10 years.
Next 10 years.
This $100 billion you said in next 10 years.
Our leverage metrics will not change. So up to a point that I invest $300 billion, my leverage, net debt to EBITDA, numbers of the group will not change. What is our limiting thing? We are obviously not going to even be able to invest 30 billion एक साल में capex हमसे नहीं होने वाला है. हम नहीं कर सकते.
बराबर है.
So what is actually going to happen? There is going to be an investment of somewhere around, we're at a run rate of about 12 to 13 billion today, this year, which we will execute.
Per annum capex.
Per annum capex. Yeah. We are trying to push it to somewhere between 15 to 20 billion.
Sure.
So that is the per annum capex number that we will gun for, we will target, we will try to achieve. So what will actually happen is we will grow. With the growth and this investment, we will delever because we will be at best borrowing one for one. At best. We will not be able to borrow more than that. So we will delever.
Because there will be no real opportunity
we will not be able to physically deploy that.
Sure.
So we will grow, our EBITDAs will grow at this level, 20% plus growth. We will delever at the same time from 20% from this base. We'll delever at the same time, and our entities come to a point in the very near future where you will delever, you will grow, and we will have the option of dividending extra cash flow that our entities will still retain within them. So if you think about it, there's very few companies in the world who will be able to grow at 20% plus on a large base, who will be able to deliver this level of capex, who will be able to have this leverage metrics in infrastructure, and have the ability and the option to pay dividends to shareholders. So that's where we are getting to in about 5-7 years. It's a little bit of a patience, not even in the next 5-7 years. We'll get there in the next 2.5 to 3 years. The truth and the honest, very honest truth is that we are blessed to be in a sort of a sector and have the sort of assets where from an investment point of view, it's a no-brainer to the investors. So ठीक है, हमको जो करना है हम करते हैं, but it's not a magic wand because our assets are so good, our cash flows are so strong, our platforms are so robust that it becomes many times a very, तो दुनिया ऊपर से नीचे हो जाए, हम वही कैश फ्लो बनाएंगे. कुछ भी हुआ, रशिया यूक्रेन पर अटैक कर दिया, कोविड हो गया, ये हो गया, वो हो गया, we will make that same cash flow every single year, year on year with the growth because we are non-market linked and we are delinked. तो कुछ भी हो जाए, we will make that cash flow every year. So that is a very unique platform setup that we have, which makes it much easier for us to attract investors because they all see this, right, from a global perspective. Now, what we do end up doing is there is a lot of stakeholders that participate with us across the platform. Names like QIA, Qatar Investment Authority, IHC of Abu Dhabi, GQG, Total Energies of France. A lot of these platforms, they participate across the board. So our engagement, a lot of people outside would not know this, but our engagement, our participation, our interface with them is extremely deep. So they know exactly what we're doing, why we are doing it, the returns we are making. They sit alongside us, they sit on our boards, they sit in our companies. So they know how we operate our companies, they know our our governance matrix, our governance mechanisms. They know all of that, which is why you would see 2 साल पहले short seller incident हुआ था, अभी ये US investment हुआ, nothing has moved. No one has moved. Not one investor has stopped participating with us. In fact, every one of these doubled down after when the first thing, because they had a good opportunity to enter and participate. I will answer your question differently today. And just in the being very transparent in the group, there is no need for us as a group for any governance breach of any sort whatsoever at all in the group.
I get that. I get that.
So from again, what I say or what our commitment and promises from a family point of view to the market, we've said that very openly, we've said that very publicly. Gautam Bhai has said it from his side in his annual speech very openly, very publicly. All the ecosystem of participants that we work with, interact with, we've been very open, very transparent and very clear on this. That there is no point in going to the debate of 7 years ago, 8 years ago, what the group was at that point in time. What we can only tell you today is today, that is zero. Any governance sidestepping or breach or any, forget governance, legal breach, governance, moral breach as well, in any company, anywhere, I can tell you today, that is zero. And it will continue to be zero for as long as Adani Group's history goes for the next few years. And that is a very, very clear public commitment that as a family we've made, as a majority shareholder we've made, and people who sit ourselves on our boards of our companies we've made. And that is something we've been very crystal clear about to all the ecosystem of stakeholders and participants who work alongside us. And they see that, and they've seen that over the last 3-4 years. That is why they keep participating more and more and more in different entities. Why did a Total Energies who invested $500 million in one LNG terminal participate in 3 companies of the group and invested $4.5 billion over 4 years? Why is a QIA who invested in 2018 in one asset of Mumbai distribution, then participate in Adani Green, and then participate in Adani Transmission, and then participate in other group companies and platforms repeatedly? If there were governance breach and issues, they would not, right? But you'll see all of our strategic equity investors have repeatedly participated with us across all transactions. So they see that because they're a part of us inside, but to the outside world, our commitment as far as the family is concerned is very, very clear. Today, it is zero. Let's not talk about the past. Today, it is zero, and going forward, it's going to be zero. And that's all that we can commit to participants outside in a larger way.
So can you talk a little bit about this current issue of DOJ and how do you view this, and is there any time frame in which the investors can look that it will get resolved?
I'll tell you what has happened, which I can share in the, which is in the public domain, which will not breach any legality because it's a legal matter. We can't say more than what's public. President Trump, on the second day of his office, passed an executive order stopping all FCPA, which is Foreign Corrupt Practices Act legislation, and all enforcement by the Department of Justice under this statute, under which we fall. We fall, many others fall. But the President Trump halted this and passed a presidential order, executive order, the second day that he took office. Basis that, there have been multiple circulars within the Department of Justice of making sure that a lot of these things are stopped. So all past cases are reviewed, are re-looked at, and if that does not have linkage with either human trafficking or drug trafficking, they are not the point of interest or priority for the government of the United States. So it's very clearly chalked out in black and white. There's a lot of de-risking we've done over the last couple of years. So unlike even 2 years ago, from a capital point of view, we are now de-risked, no dependency outside. From a lot of other ways, regulatory point of view, our regulatory matters in Adani Power, all of that have been resolved, so fully all up to stream. The one biggest challenge only for us as we go forward, and that's one thing and one thing only, is organizational capability development. It's been the same. From a trading house, we became an infrastructure conglomerate in a short span of 20 years, where there's been 40% plus CAGR over that period as a group overall. So we've grown historically very, very rapidly. We're going to grow even equally rapidly.
In terms of quantum.
In terms of quantum, exactly. So that, to make sure that our organization continues to develop properly, consistently, comprehensively, in sync with the growth that our businesses are doing, is our biggest challenge. We are very, very focused on, and what we are very bullish about is the story of India. We've said this all the time since many, many years, and we've demonstrated that as well, right? We've always kept doubling down, we've always kept growing, even in the most sort of constrained investment environments. We've still continued to always double down our investments and grow. In periods like COVID, we did large M&As, Mumbai Import, Gangavaram Port, lot of things we've done. So we, as a family, as a group, no matter cycles come, cycles go, अच्छा time आता है, बुरा time आता है, अच्छा time आता है, बुरा time आता है, problem होता है, market नीचे जाता है, ऊपर जाता है, all that is fine. Consistently, something that we have always done is kept going stronger and stronger and stronger, and kept doubling down with conviction on the fundamental Indian story of the opportunity that we have available in front of us. And we've always had a 20-year horizon of thinking. So we never make any decisions today for today, ever. We've never, unlike many other, and we've seen a lot of other companies get caught out because their investment making decisions have been from a horizon of 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. And we've always very consciously avoided that from a family standpoint and from how we've made our decisions with regards to investments. It's always been independent of short-term events, but looking at the medium to long-term opportunity. And I think that's a very important mindset to have, especially if you want to grow and capture the opportunity that's in front of you in a country like India.